What up, guys? It's your boy Quake, and with all this hype surrounding Kendrick Lamar, man, I had to make a video about this album. Damn! So much hype and just great reviews for Kendrick's latest album. I haven't seen a bad review at all, honestly. I've seen 4.5s out of 5, 5 out of 5s, A minuses, A pluses, A's, 10 out of 10s, whatever, 96s out of 100. I haven't seen a single bad review, and that sort of brought me to ask myself this question. Is Kendrick Lamar consistently progressing while Drake is consistently staying stagnant? Now, why am I mentioning Kendrick and Drake? I myself hate these comparisons, but they've been in talk a lot recently because Drake dropped More Life, which he calls a playlist, but I call an album. And then Kendrick just recently dropped Damn. So just this past day, they're saying that Kendrick is going to outsell Drake in the first week sales, and Kendrick's going to hold the title, at least for this year so far, of having the best-selling album in hip-hop. So obviously the comparisons are going to be made. And let's rewind back of why I'm asking this question. Is Kendrick constantly progressing, and is Drake constantly staying stagnant? Why am I asking this question? Well, Kendrick has sort of caught up to Drake's level of fame and success. If you can recognize, back when Drake dropped his first album and then Kendrick dropped Good Kid, Mad City, I'm not counting Section 80 because Good Kid, Mad City was his first major label debut album. Section 80 was more independent, so it's harder to compare sales of an independent album versus a major label album. So let's compare Good Kid, Mad City to Thank Me Later. When Good Kid, Mad City dropped, it only sold 242,000 copies within the first week. Now that's a good number, but obviously Kendrick has progressed a lot since then, and fast forward now in 2017, he's about to beat Drake in the first week sales of the whole year of 2017. So that's a crazy progression. Obviously, a lot more people now know about Kendrick. He's hit the mainstreams because I think he's talked about multiple different things, whether it's political things, whether it's things going on in the urban city communities, and he's also touched on things where it could cross over easily to mainstream, like swimming pools. It was more of a conscious record, but it had that mainstream pop sound that everybody could enjoy in the clubs or wherever situation they're in. Now, when Drake initially started, Thank Me Later was already a 500,000 sold first week. So clearly Drake had a way bigger mainstream success. More people knew him. He was selling a lot more records versus Kendrick and J. Cole. So how did we get to the point where Kendrick outsells Drake in 2017? What is going on? Is Drake just not as appealing anymore? Granted, views did insane numbers. I mean, with streams, it really helped Drake really catapulted to a different level. He got his first #1 Billboard Hot 100 hit. That wasn't a feature, so it was, Drake had his success and had really big mainstream success, but critically acclaimed, Views was easily one of Drake's worser projects. It wasn't as good as either Take Care or Nothing Was the Same. I thought Views was going to be really one of the greatest albums that Drake was going to drop because I really liked Nothing Was the Same, and then I liked If You're Reading This Is Too Late, and then I was expecting an album like If You're Reading This Is Too Late on steroids. So I was expecting Views to be really this great thing, but it disappointed a lot of people. I mean, Joe Budden went on a whole rant about how Drake's uninspired and he's staying stagnant.
40 continues to progress. Drake, you do not. I said the other day on this podcast, I miss the Drake that starts the waves, not hops on other waves. And I'll say it again. I miss Drake that pushes the fucking agenda, not let the agenda push him.
And I agree with that. Drake hasn't progressed in his sound at all. If you look at these last 3 Kendrick albums, whether it's Good Kid, Mad City, whether it's To Pimp a Butterfly, whether it's DNA, none of these albums sound the same. They're completely different albums. It's like 3 different artists composed these albums. When it comes to Drake, in the beginning, he was progressing his sound, but then towards the end, he's sort of following other people's sounds and sort of losing who he is as an artist, or just becoming really comfortable and not trying anything different. It seems like Drake just talks about his personal life and stays in his own bubble, while Kendrick goes all over the place, whether it's political terms, whether he talks about urban cities, problems in urban cities, all kinds of stuff, whether it's his personal life. I feel like the first album was his personal life, then the second album was political and like urban city problems, and now this third one's geared to a whole bunch of different things and just proving that he can make hits, because on DNA it seems like he's hitting more of a mainstream sound and telling people, hey, look, I can be lyrical and conscious and still make hit records. And sonically, none of these albums sound the same. Kendrick's ear for beats are just so different and unique. It's refreshing. It's hard to find an artist who can jump on anything and still make it sound good. So with that being said, I feel like Drake can't do that, or he's just too scared to try something that's completely out of his lane. Drake can be a conscious rapper too if he wants to, but I think he's just going straight the pop route, which is an easier route. It's easier to make pop records and make these hit records than it is to make conscious music that's a hit. Making music that's conscious and that becomes a hit is very, very hard to pull off. So with all this being said, whose music is going to stand the test of time? Does Drake have a classic? A lot of people say he has Take Care. Some people say he has Nothing Was the Same. I don't really hear people mention Thank Me Later or Views or If You're Reading This Is Too Late. Now that's just all opinion. I mean, you might think Thank Me Later is better than Take Care. I don't know. That's just opinion. But most people say it's either Take Care or Nothing Was the Same. But some people say he doesn't have one at all. And Kendrick is a whole different story. A lot of people say Good Kid, Mad City is a classic. A lot of people say To Pimp a Butterfly is a classic. And this recent new one, Damn, a lot of people are saying this is a classic and it's better than his previous projects. I mean, like I said, there's reviews that all have been in the A's, that all have been either 4.5 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 96 out of 100. I haven't seen a single review that's been in the 70s or 80s. And arguably Drake has a lot of those projects that are in the 70s and 80s. And also this conversation this week has been, is Kendrick the best rapper alive, which is insane. But this happens to every artist that consistently delivers great projects. Now, I don't really care to get into that topic of, is he the best rapper alive right now? I feel like you need time for that. And what I mean by time is give these projects longevity, give the artist longevity, see if the artist can constantly deliver, because at one point there were a lot of people saying that certain artists are the best, and then later on they sort of release mediocre projects and just fall off the face of the earth. You know, like, if this is always the argument that I have, is that if Tupac still lived, would he still be considered one of the greatest as he is right now? Because when he died, he was sort of in his prime. And it's like sort of if Eminem were to die right when he dropped Marshall Mathers LP, a lot of people would be like, oh, he's the greatest of all time. But, you know, obviously Eminem sort of didn't fall off, but his projects have gotten a little bit worse over time, at least in my opinion. And same thing if like Nas dropped Illmatic and then died, like a lot of people will consider him one of the greatest. So that you have to give longevity, you have to give time. So I'm not even going to jump into that. So let's talk about what I think Drake should do. And I think he should just chill for about 2 to 3 years, come back with a project that's completely different that we shouldn't expect from him. And what do I mean? And what project could that possibly be? Do a politically conscious album, just something that you talk about everything that's happening around the world, not just about your personal life and issues with females or issues with your mom and stuff like that. Just jump into something where it's totally left, it's not pop records, and just see how people respond to it. Maybe people will appreciate it more than your previous projects. But that's my take on it. I think Drake has just been staying stagnant. Kendrick has constantly been excelling album after album. Each album sounds different. Each album sounds unique. And if this continues with Kendrick, he could easily be considered one of the best rappers alive in that conversation. Is he in it right now? Yeah. I mean, a lot of people think he's in it right now. I think he still needs a little bit of more time, a little bit more projects. If he constantly delivers like this and it's always different sounding, unique, different flows. I mean, this man's like 20 artists in one, which is unique and very hard to find in an artist. So if he constantly does this, yeah, he'll be in that conversation. I feel like if Drake stays the same route and he keeps doing the safe music route that everyone knows him for, I feel like he's going to be forgotten a lot quicker. And Kendrick is going to be remembered more as the legendary artist. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think Drake is staying stagnant? Do you guys think he's progressed? Do you guys think Kendrick is easily going to be considered one of the greatest rappers of all time? And did you like the Damn album? I want to know what you guys think about that, because I see all these critics rated as this great album. But I want to know what the regular people think, not these critics, because critics can be biased and all kinds of stuff, and you never know who's paying who behind the scenes, because some rappers be paying these bloggers to talk good about them when really their projects are just terrible. But let me know what you guys think about that album as well. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.